There are 5 things you're allowed to do with your superannuation the day you turn 60 that your fund will never put in its annual statement.
Your bank will never mention, and the tax office will never write to tell you about. Some of them cut the tax you pay right now to zero. One of them quietly hands your adult kids a tax bill of 15, sometimes 17% on the super you leave behind, and the single move that wipes it out has a hard deadline. It closes for good at 75, and most people find out years too late. None of this is a loophole. None of it is clever. It's all sitting in the rules exactly as they're written. The catch is simple. Nobody whose job it is to tell you actually has to. Your fund earns more while your money stays where it is. The tax office isn't going to ring you, and a standard tax appointment is about lodging last year's return, not redesigning what you do next. That's what this channel is for, taking the rules they bury in the fine print and putting them in plain English, while you've still got time to use them. Stay with me, because the 5th one is the most important conversation most Australians between 60 and 74 are never having. Let's go through all 5. Start with the one almost everyone gets wrong, because it sounds too good to be true. Once you're over 60 and you've actually retired, or met what the rules call a condition of release, money you take out of a tax super fund comes out tax-free. Not taxed at a lower rate, tax-free. Lump sums, the regular pension payments, the lot. It doesn't get added to your income, it doesn't push you into a higher bracket, it doesn't even go on your tax return. Here's where it bites. Plenty of people retire at 60, 61, 62, and live off the savings in their bank, money they've already paid tax on, while leaving super untouched because it feels safer. And every dollar of interest that bank account pays gets taxed at their full marginal rate, while the tax-free money sits right there. The typical case is someone drawing down taxable income for 3 or 4 years before anyone points out their super was the tax-free tap all along. The action here is just a question. Before you touch another savings account, ask, now that I'm over 60 and retired, should I be drawing my income from super first where it's tax-free instead of from money that's still being taxed? 5-minute conversation. It can change your tax bill for the rest of your retirement. Number 2 is about the money you're not taking out yet, the bulk of it, still sitting in super. While it sits in what's called accumulation phase, the fund pays up to 15% tax on everything that balance earns. Every year. Dividends, interest, capital gains inside the fund, 15% skimmed off before you ever see it. Now watch what happens when you move it into retirement, pension phase, by starting what's called an account-based pension. The tax the fund pays on those earnings drops from 15% to 0. Same investments, same balance, different account, and the tax office stops taking a cut of the growth entirely. There's a ceiling on how much you can move across, a cap currently somewhere around $2 million per person, and it's indexed, so check the current figure. And once it's a pension, you have to draw a minimum each year, a small percentage that rises with age. But for most retirees, flipping super from accumulation into pension phase is the difference between the fund paying 15% on your growth forever and paying nothing. Your fund will happily leave it in accumulation if you never ask. So ask, am I eligible to move my super into pension phase? And if I am, what is it costing me every year that I haven't? Number 3 is for anyone who's had a year where money came in, sold an investment property, sold shares, took a redundancy, had one last big income year before stopping work. There's a rule almost nobody uses called carry forward or catch-up contributions. Every year there's a cap on how much you can put into super before tax, currently around $30,000. And check that it moves. What most people don't know is that if you didn't use the full cap in any of the last 5 years, that unused space doesn't vanish. It stacks up, and if your total super balance is under $500,000, you can use it to make one big tax-deductible contribution far larger than the normal yearly cap. Why does that matter? Because that contribution is taxed at just 15% going in, instead of your marginal rate, which in a good income year is 30, 37, even 45 cents in the dollar. In the year you sell something with a capital gain, this is the move that knocks thousands off the tax on that gain. The typical case is someone paying full marginal tax on a property sale with tens of thousands of unused caps sitting there the whole time, unaware. The check takes 2 minutes. It's in your MyGov, under Super, your available carry forward amount. Look at it before you sell anything. Number 4. If you've owned your home for at least 10 years and you're thinking about selling, there's a contribution that sits completely outside the normal rules. The downsizer contribution. You can put up to $300,000 each, $600,000 for a couple, from the proceeds of selling your home straight into Super. What makes it unusual is what it ignores. It doesn't count toward the normal contribution caps. There's no work test. There's no upper age limit. You can do it at 70, 75, 80. For a couple selling the family home, that's up to $600,000 moved into the tax-friendly Super environment in one go, whereas we just covered, the earnings can be tax-free in pension phase. One honest catch, and it matters. Your home doesn't count toward the age pension assets test, but once that money is inside Super, it does. So for someone on a part pension, moving money from the house into Super can reduce the pension. For a self-funded retiree, it's often a clear win. For someone relying on the pension, it's exactly the thing to model first. Ask if I sell, does the downsizer contribution help me? And how does it interact with my pension? And don't let the name fool you. You don't have to buy a smaller home or any home to use it. Which brings us to the 5th, the one I said was the most important, and the one with the deadline. Here's something most people have never been told. The Super you spend in retirement is tax-free to you after 60. But the Super you don't spend, the balance you leave behind, is not always tax-free to the people who inherit it. If it goes to a non-dependent, and in tax terms that usually means your independent adult children, the taxable portion gets hit with around 15%, closer to 17% with the Medicare levy. On a few $100,000 of Super, that's tens of thousands going to the tax office instead of your kids. People call it the Super death tax, and almost nobody plans for it. Now the move. After 60 you can withdraw Super tax-free. We covered that in number 1. The strategy is to withdraw a portion and immediately recontribute it as an after-tax contribution. That changes the makeup of your balance. It converts money from the taxable component into the tax-free component, the part your children can inherit with no tax at all. Done properly over a year or two, it can dramatically cut or even erase the death tax your family would otherwise pay. And here's the deadline. To put money back into Super, you generally have to be under 75. After that, the door closes. So this is exactly the strategy people discover at 76, when it's too late. If you're between 60 and 74 with a meaningful balance you don't expect to spend, this is the conversation to have, and to have soon. Ask, should I be using a withdrawal and recontribution strategy to reduce the tax my children will pay on my Super, and how much of my window is left? So there are your 5. Draw your income from Super first, where it's tax-free. Move your balance into pension phase so the fund stops paying 15% on the growth. Use carry-forward contributions while your balance is under $500,000, especially in a year you sell something. Use the downsizer contribution to move up to $600,000 into Super outside the caps, and before you turn 75, look hard at the recontribution strategy. So the tax office isn't your children's biggest beneficiary. Not one of those is a trick. They're in the rules right now, available to ordinary people. The only thing standing between most Australians and using them is that nobody whose job it was ever stopped to explain they exist. 2 honest notes before you go. First, the figures, the caps, the thresholds, the rates, they change, and they change often. Always confirm the current numbers with the ATO and your own fund before you act. Second, this is general information, not personal advice. I don't know your balance, your situation or your goals, and some of these moves interact with your pension and your tax in ways that depend entirely on your numbers. For the Super and estate side especially, take it to a licensed financial advisor or a registered tax agent. or book a free financial information service appointment through Services Australia and have them look at your actual position. This stuff rewards thinking about it early. If it was useful, tell me in the comments. Are you self-funded or on the age pension? It shapes what I cover next. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.